you're pushing it to the next direction, could we be pushing them in the wrong direction?
It's possible. No, I hear what you're saying. That hey, college may not be for you coming to nah bullshit.
Yeah, you know that's what I'm gonna say.
Who said it?
It depends on what you're going to education.
Knowledge is power, right? And
but if you get skewed knowledge,
well, if you get that's not knowledge. You can be miseducated if you get skewed.
Well, I mean, that's public education.
You
don't think public education has skewed knowledge?
Look, man, I am a graduate.
I can get a history book from an HISD school and blow your mind, son.
I'm an average graduate of a very, very low-scoring public school system. And if you just paid attention a little bit, you would get just enough to you can learn to understand some bullshit. Plus TV and your parents and what have you. But you know, is true. No, but you know how to go out and get more education.
Some people that have the opportunities, but you may be in a low income and everybody don't have a computer. Like back in the day, a computer and having information or access to information.
A library is always to access to you. Always. Nope.
It's not always access to everybody.
Everybody.
To anybody that people that can't get there.
Everybody. Now, ain't about can't get there, what have you, because if you really wanted it, you would get there.
Right.
It's just the library ain't the cool place. I guess for some people it was.
You can't agree with some people that don't have that. Even if you go to the library, people don't know where to go, what to look up, what to study. You may not know where it's at,
but what about in your school library? Every school had a library. But even more so, we get sidetracked, what have you. Education is key. And if the school system is messing up your education, you don't just allow them to mess up your education. You go educate yourself. I know a whole bunch of, let's say, self-taught guys from high school on up that taught themselves just enough so they can pass the test or get into college or get into a different school or get themselves out of the situation.
But we just proved getting to college don't mean that you're succeeding.
What college is and is intended to be, you are sitting on top of. It is the expediting of knowledge.
So you're saying everybody needs to go to college?
You should go to college for whatever you think. If you have an idea of going somewhere, doing anything, I wanna make watches. Now, you could go out on your own without any education. You're going to have to learn by trial and error all those things at the beginning to the master level of making watches. Or you could go to school, in which they're going to tell you other people's and generations and histories of the knowledge of making watches. Now, watches is just an example. Engineering and everything else falls. Like you're getting the knowledge on top of everybody else's lessons learned.
But are you getting the knowledge? Because I'll put it like this. I'll bring you back to business. With the PV, I didn't took a lot of business classes, but leaving PV business school, I can't say that I was able to go start a business or even know how to start a business from that point.
Well, no, that's 'cause you went to business school. That's business. You didn't go to school for entrepreneurship. There's a big difference, and there's a facade that going to business school is going to help you in entrepreneurism, and it doesn't.
And that's the problem. That's a false perception that we've learned today. So where do people go that want to be an entrepreneur?
There are very few real accredited entrepreneurial classes, schools that I know of, but there are people that are offering it, but it's not real entrepreneur schooling.
Well, I can tell you it's a lot of people, especially black people, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a lot of people that feel like, hey, I'm going to business school because I want to own my own business.
You want to own your own business.
That's what I'm saying.
There's a big difference in
I understand that, but I'm just saying that's the difference between black people and white people going to business school. Mm-hmm. We go to business school to learn how to start a business.
Correct.
White people go to business school to just getting the fundamentals of running their own family business.
Correct.
So, it's just a false perception. And I'm glad we're getting that out now because it's a lot of people that just want to be entrepreneurs and start their own business. And school is not the way to go for their particular dream. Not saying for everybody that want to be an entrepreneur. It's some things that you have to go to school for. Maybe if you want to do some things engineering.
If you want to be an entrepreneur, that's the only thing I would suggest. It's not about business school. It is whatever. When you're in business, you're offering either a product or a service, something in some industry. If you want to start a business, get the education in that industry, not just on business itself. Now, if you do go into the business, just a business, where you're still going to be lacking the education, of that industry that you really need to get in, and that's what you
people,
really
they
need
don't have the
for
access to just go
entrepreneur.
to that industry and get education. That's the problem.
Well, that's where your education comes. You're going the wrong route.
I'm saying black people that want to get that want to get that. Let's just say that experience, they can't go straight to the source. So that's not an option.
It's not about
so
going
then they
straight
try
to
to
the
go to
source.
school.
When I say industry,
that's not a reason.
Like going back to the example of the watch. Like you don't have to go. I want to go into business or be an entrepreneur for watches. So I become, I go to school for business. No, you go to school to make watches, right?
Right.
And then while you're making watches, while you're going to school, you should probably, it would help to get some business courses, but not really entrepreneurial courses somewhere if they have them. But a lot of times I found blogs, there's not much out there for it. But for
Exactly, like you're
entrepreneurs,
saying, there's not a lot out there. So if it's no school to do this type of stuff, they go learn from different owners and different people in that area.
You're going to have to go to the library. You're going to have to search the internet. You're going to have to learn how to learn yourself is what I'm telling you.
Right.
And that's where a lot of us young black kings, in which the public school system was effed up, you would have to, push yourself to go outside wherever to find the knowledge, get it, so that you can do what you need to do.
Right. I just think it's a lot of misinformation. I think it's a little bit too much of conforming to what things already are. And I think we have to start really going outside the box. And that goes with college. I really think a lot less people need to be going to college, and a lot more people need to be encouraged in starting businesses. Because it's a lot of things that people are going to school for that they're not going to be able to use coming out. And I think that's what we're not really paying attention to. It's so many things that kids are going to school for that's not going to repay them the money that they took. They did a study just on the news the other day. Mm-hmm. The normal business degree, let's just say now, the average cost you around, let's just say $110,000. I'm saying average. Like they just talking. Of course, they wasn't talking about black colleges. So, but I'm just giving you an example. And then they said in either 2021 or 2022 or something like that, 10 years, it should be around like 180,000. So you're talking about a $80,000 gap
I ended
in
school
between these
with
two.
$150,000 debt.
Golly.
$150,000 for an engineering degree.
Was it worth it?
Hell yeah, it's worth it. That's what I'm saying. Like you can't get. If I were to not go to school for engineering, and I still wanted to start a business, still wanted to invent, the amount of errors I would make just trying to make a product.
Right.
Like those things are trying to get there. Whatever you're offering.
My question is, how long is it going to take you to get from under that 150 grand? That's the question.
See, and this is where the entrepreneur.
You're going to be stuck with that for a lifetime.
All right, and this is where I gotta, I guess you're telling me to give my recipe for entrepreneurism since there's not much out there.
We talking about it today.
If you're young and you're just starting out in life, you think about it. If you want to start a business, it's going to take a whole lot of money to start a business, and ain't nobody trying to give you no money, so you're going to have to make your own. Therefore, you absolutely must, choose a degree that's going to get you 6 figures and above. That's right now. If you're in high school, if you're in college, make sure you have a degree that absolutely will pay you 6 figures in 1 year.
What degree is that?
There are business degrees that you can get. It just depends on
what
your network.
You going see?
Depends on your network. All right, so we'll take business.
That network.
You'll take business degree out. Let's take that out. So if you can go for a business degree, right? That means in business you're talking about money, and with money is mathematics. So if you're good at math, there is a slew of professional math, whether it's engineering, right?
But many people good at math, but I don't think you really you short selling on how hard and how much being like advanced in math would be. Like that is not easy.
No, I'm telling you, if you can
mathematician,
the amount of math that you're going to need for business and to be able to really run your business from the ground up. I mean, you're not starting with the original business. Right. You literally have to create databases full of numbers and equations. You have to create those things as an entrepreneur. See, when you're going to business,
depending on what industry you're going in.
Now there's no. What spreadsheet you got? I know you got a spreadsheet, right? Spreadsheets full of equations for your financial projections on your businesses.
I mean, it just depends on what it is.
What do you mean? So you don't have a spreadsheet?
I mean, not a spreadsheet of just financial projections. Depends on, because my businesses are not just like that. I think it's just set up a little bit different.
All businesses,
more goals.
Every business, if you're making money, will have a spreadsheet with equations. And now these equations you're going to have to put together. Nobody else has put this together because it's your business. Nobody has created it before. So you got to create equations with numbers on a massive level because you don't want to make a whole lot of money.
But I understand that. But what's the point as far as that being?
Get yourself a degree. Go back to get yourself a degree that ensures you 6 figures eventually within 10 years. 6 figures. Now you're going to use that 6 figures. Just working. Of course, you're going to be paying down your student loans, what have you. It's doable. Take it from me. It's doable. You live your normal life. Don't go balling and what have you. Just live a normal life. You'll pay it off.
No balling out of control.
And you'll be able to launch, self-fund your business through the money you have. Because $100,000 takes about good $20,000. I mean, there's $100,000 a year. That means in 10 years, that's $1 million. With $1 million, you can make some investments. Now, if you get a whatever degree or no degree, you're making about $30,000-$40,000 a year. You will never make $1 million to invest in that a damn thing. Because now, at that point,
paying too much out.
Now you're paying too much. You just can't make that much. Your regular lifestyle and rent is too much. It's too much at the ceiling that you can't save anything. You can't invest your own money into yourself.
Well, I would say this kind of in the age of social media when I say being complacent. I think a lot of people get caught up in the whole looking like we're doing something without actually doing something. And the reason why I would say
there's some psychology in that.
No. And the reason why I brought that up, I'm glad you said psychology, is because I want people to take a look at this. It's called a conformity experiment. I think it's by a dude named, what was the dude name? Vsauce. It's on YouTube.
Vsauce.
And it's called like the conformity experiment. And basically, it shows just the mindset of people. And 75, I'll put it like this. I'll put us in a scenario. It's us in a room and say, hey, I have this iPad. And I say this iPad is, I have the 5 people in front of you say this iPad is square, knowing that it's rectangle. But by that person feeling left out, by the third time they go around, this person is now saying, hey, yeah, that's a square. Mm-hmm. Mainly because they don't want to be left out. More is in a way of like, hey, maybe I'm feeling like I need to fit in. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of us have to get out of that circumstance. A lot of people feel like, hey, no, I would do it right. I would always say what the right thing is. But that just shows you and puts you in the mind of people. Like even when you understand and something is wrong, a lot of people are going against it. A lot of people are not, or saying something else just to conform. So I feel like we have to stop conforming to other stuff and allow ourselves to think outside the box, and not Kanye think outside the box.
How you gonna tell somebody to think outside the box? Like not too much. You're too far out the box.
That's a mental outside the box.
As an artist,
I'm not trying to give
innovator,
you a ceiling, but that's what he said is not innovative, or he's not being an innovator. So
I want to limit you, but here's your limit. You just did.
I mean, it's like. Everybody, I don't know if it was just a way to fit in or whatever, but I feel like this, maybe people don't know what they want until you tell them, and in sales, a lot of people, they like that. And even if they went back, they did a study on jelly beans. Mm. They had a whole bunch of people either pick out of a thing with 10 choices, and then they gave you over here and gave you 2 choices. And they said, hey, more people were way more satisfied with their choice when they only had choice of 2. Everybody that had the choice of 10, most of them all regretted their choices. Mm-hmm. So when people was given, I would say, less choices and say, hey, this is what you need, mm-hmm. then they all felt better about their decision.
See, this is where the scientist comes into me. Because I'm looking at, okay, what were the 2 choices, and were those the 2 best choices out of the 10 choices?
No, it was cherry and lemon.
Cherry and lemon, I'm gonna be satisfied.
But he had but on the other one they had raspberry, all type of cotton candy. You know, they had it all.
I mean,
so this person was like, yeah, that tastes good.
You're comparing.
But dang,
50,
I wish I would
50.
took that raspberry just to see what it tastes like because I'm missing out.
No.
They felt like they missed out on something.
No.
It wasn't the deal.
This is where the mathematics comes in, because you look at that, right? That comparison. All right, people going against the 10 options, you're more likely to be dissatisfied, right? Than a 50-50 split. Yeah, you're more likely to get more people on a 50-50 split than a 1-10 split.
Right, no, but the point was, of course you more to get more people. It wasn't about what you like. It was more about being happy with your choice. You get what I'm saying? It wasn't about
that no matter what, unless you put in like some bad flavors in there. Like you put in 2 bad flavors, and we'll within that equation, are people still? This is what, like, I'm sorry, the scientist comes in and me looking at other people's analysis, and me, it's like it's an inaccurate analysis. That's not really.
Why you say it's inaccurate? Don't get me wrong. I think they can get a whole bunch more people on it.
There's a whole lot of stats that ain't true.
But I'm saying just the stat that we named is true because more people were more happy with their choices when they had less. And I can take it back to selling cars. When I sold cars, I didn't go be like, when I first got there, it was easy for me to say, hey, what color do you like? And people spit out at the mouth, oh, I like green, I like red, I like black. You know, I was there all day. But when I said, hey, what color do you like? This black or this red? They said, I like that black. Or I like that red. Then when but if they didn't like one of them colors, guess what they told me? Hey, I don't like neither one of those. So it just made the process smoother when you gave them their choices rather than let them pick. So I'm a big believer in sometimes a lot of people don't know what they want until they're told. And I think that's kind of the problem with society. A lot of people are followers rather than leaders. And when it comes to it, we have to stop letting anything that we see just sway our minds, and let's be more of, don't be afraid to stand on your own.
So you're telling everybody to be leaders then?
No, not being leaders. I said don't be afraid to stand on your own or what you believe in. A lot of people will conform. I'm not saying you got to be a leader.
So
you don't have to lead
anybody
else. You don't have to lead anybody else. You just have to be able to be comfortable with you. That's what I'm saying. So I'm not saying you got to be
are you a follower?
Who, me? No, I'm not.
No, not you a follower. The person that you describe it like, are you a leader or a follower or neither? When you put it into that equation, you said can't. Not everybody should be a follower, right?
No, I said not everyone can be a leader.
Not everybody can be a leader,
right?
Right. So you can be a follower
for sure. I think even a leader have to be a great follower to a certain degree. You have to know.
A leader does have to follow to lead. Yes. But you said something about you don't want them to be followers. You just don't want people being followers.
I mean, I'm not saying you have to be followers. Look, when it comes to
you can't just blindly follow. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, y'all don't believe we can blindly follow anything. You know my big scenario. I believe in questioning everything. These
rule number 1. No, there's rule number 2 to life. Question everything.
For sure. I mean. But
that's true.
But you got a lot of people that don't question a lot of stuff because they don't feel it's right. Whether that be religion, whether that be, whatever. Say we'll get to that topic one day.
I'm waiting for that day too.
We'll get there one day. When the book is out, we'll get there. That way I can present it all at once.
Word.
But I feel like a lot of us, even when it comes to the black wages, a lot of people, 45% of, black children under the age of 6, live in poverty. It said in 2010, the median net worth of black families was like $4,900.
$4,900 net worth.
Net worth.
Net worth.
Net worth.
That's to mean at any given time, that's how much money you have access to.
For
net
sure.
Worth $4,900
compared to white, which is 97,000.
And just to reiterate the point, okay, that's what other wealth statistics are you got on there?
I mean, pretty much I said compared to white, they had 97,000.
I mean, just to put it in perspective, because it's still blowing my mind. Because you talking about 6 figures.
Yeah.
Like black people, once you make 6 figures, you are in a whole nother realm, and that is in comparison to your own.
I mean, I put it like this. You know how much you have to be in the top 5% of black people?
Black people, 160,000 household puts you in the top 1% of black people. I
It
repeat.
was like 300,000.
No. $160,000 salary a year, right?
Right.
Puts you in the 1% of black people. Now that's just middle class white people. That's middle class.
Yeah,
but that's
you're not nowhere
1%.
close.
Top 1% of black people.
I told you over almost a million white people have over $12 million or more in the bank right now.
Correct.
So I'm like, I put like this, not even barely a million black people have over what they say 300,000. So that's not, over a million. So that's not a lot.
Can you imagine black people over a million?
Yeah.
Like that's like, those are literal unicorns at that point.
Most of the people we see on TV.
Yeah, nowhere else. But just the
And athletes.
if you could look at just the wealth difference of how much you can afford, what you can do on a daily basis, what type of lifestyle you can have.
For sure.
Right, on a daily
Beyonce
basis.
just bought a church.
Just
so
just the difference, yards. Like to be middle class white people and to be considered a 1% of black people, really that part really breaks. That data that I learned this year really, really broke my heart.
So, but I got a question to ask you then, kind of on that note, what we were just talking about. Do you think people are happier with fewer choices, or you just think that's just...
No. With sales, the psychology within sales, when you give people too many choices, it messes with
choice paralysis.
Yeah, choice paralysis. They can't decide what they want, so they're boggling their mind which one forever, over and over. When you give them choice, when you give them no choices, they're upset. Nobody likes to be confined to a box. So there is a limit of not too much and not too little of options. There's usually about a handful of options you get, and then you figure out how to weed off the ones that they don't like, and you want to get the customer, as them on how to weed out that little list that you gave them. So you're giving them options, just not too many, not too little, or whatever you have. And that leads to a good sale.
Median.
That hefty median of whatever product you're offering. So if it's a car, you don't want more than probably five cars. You can't even test drive that many. So probably about 3 cars.
No, 2.
2 cars. I want to test.
You don't test drive. Why do you need to test drive 5 cars?
No, you really don't.
And even that different models. If you drove one color of it, guess what? The next one go drive the same.
Correct. But look at let's go to the car. I want a car. I don't know what car I want. So I go to your Ford dealership, and Ford got a whole car lot full of cars. There's tens and hundreds of cars that I can choose from.
Right.
But your job as salesman, you're leading them around, showing them this one, that one, this one is options. And then there's whichever one that he catches his eye at that time. Boom. Okay. Now that narrows down a whole bunch of options.
I narrowed down those options before we even get there.
Okay. Even more so. But still, you go out and you look at, you have all, it's just because the customers would prefer, fewer options did not limit Ford of still developing a shit amount of cars.
Actually, Ford is actually getting rid of Fusions, and they only keeping Focuses and Mustangs, and they getting rid of everything else but they couple SUVs and trucks
That's
by
fine.
2020.
I
guess it's just a demand of manufacturer, and because I thought the Fusions was
the
actually
competition's heavy, so you can't come with no bullshit no more. So they're keeping their real good ones, which is still multiple options, because you got to compete with Teslas now.
They won't have no more cars.
What do you mean?
Ford, you have the Focus.
Focus? Still.
Or the Mustang. So you either go to a
I'm
real
still
small
getting my
car.
Raptor. That's all I'm worried about.
You want a Raptor? I used to make people pay over sticker for Raptors.
You bastard.
Over sticking. I used to be people like, I'm not paying over sticker. I see where you see that man sitting over there. He ready to buy as soon as you fall out. I had a dude give me $64,000 cash. And he wanted it for 63. I said no. He talking about for $1,000? Yes. Yes.
You wouldn't sell it to him?
Nope.
You pay over sticker? That's why you go directly to manufacturer.
We charge $1,000 over sticker. Well, that's better than the Corvette I sold for $20,000 over sticker.
My nigga.
They make you. You had to put down like a $10,000 deposit even for us to even, put one on hold.
That's a salesman right there. Now that you know the inside of sales, that's how they be getting you.
The people know for buying them type of cars, that's just what you're gonna pay. But all right, that's the end of that. I guess my whole maybe solution don't go with that, but I want people to know that these days activism is no longer a choice. We have to be out here on the forefront of everything for black people, whether that be business, any realm that you feel like that you can give an expertise of the black community in. I feel like we need to be giving it back. Mm-hmm. So activism is no longer a choice. We have to be out here on the forefront in every aspect. Yeah, for sure. Especially college students, I think it's time to be activated for sure. If it's any time, there's no time better than now. Mm-hmm. You know, but we'll go from there. We'll go to here. We'll go to current events. I had a couple things to discuss for the current events.
All right.
One thing, this is not a pleasant topic, but I don't know if you heard about the black kid that got kidnapped by the white supremacist dudes.
Yeah.
So we had a chance.
Homeboy escaped and everything.
We had a chance. We visited with the mother while we was over there. The cops and stuff came. You know, and basically, you know, it's a lot of them. They don't even believe the kid. You know, they don't believe that he had been kidnapped, which is the crazy part.
So one, you physically spoke to the mother.
Yeah, got the video on my phone. Sat in her living room, talked to her.
He said they don't believe the kid.
No.
The cops don't. Who? Who's who? The cops don't believe that this happened.
That this happened. So you know, maybe not all of them, but the ones that we spoke with was very skeptical. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you know, we got a large amount of lynchings going on in the United States right now. I don't know if you know, and they're calling them suicides. So I feel like then, you know, it's a lot of stuff that's going on, and I feel like the cops don't want to say it because they know what that type of, I would say, message will send to black people, especially if you mention our kids. And what the news what the news didn't mention is when the little boy was caught in the house, he seen 2 other black kids already dead in there, and they said we already hung them. You next. You know, they was dead, tied up in trash bags. You know, that the kid reported. But yet, they took them 24 hours before they even went to the house. Yet, no forensics. Nobody even been in the house to do nothing like that yet. You know, it been a week. That was last Monday.
Yes.
So, it's a lot of stuff that, you know, that's not being said, that's not being reported, that, you know, that they just sweeping under the rug because they don't want to start something that they feel like is going to be hard to fight, because Alabama, Mississippi, they fighting a lot of that stuff now.
Correct.
And they naming them all suicides. Like, they know black people hanging themselves. I'm sorry.
I mean, there's black people hanging themselves.
Well, who?
But ain't nobody lynching themselves.
That's what I'm talking about. Ain't nobody.
And when you say lynch comes with a rope and a noose. I don't even know black people that know how to tie a noose.
Exactly. Oh my God, somebody said that earlier. Like, no black people know how to tie no noose.
I can tie a knot. There ain't no
with noose. A big rope. That's still, some people don't even know how to tie a knot in those big ropes. Like, that is not something that's easy.
And that's actually, they're being lynched. They're being lynched with those.
Yeah.
Because every time I hear the story, but ain't no picture, ain't no like thing. They just say lynch.
Miss Adams don't know what happened. She wanted to know what happened.
Well, one dude, one little boy, 13 years old, he got off the bus. 5 white boys came, grabbed him up when he got off the bus while he was walking to school. Kidnapped him. Put him in a truck. He was in a red truck with yellow flames, and it was an older white dude in there with him. The little boy described all the tattoos that the white men had. They had a tattoo with smiley faces on it, and they had a tattoo talking about, I hate black people. Mm-hmm. They even text the mom from the boy's phone, don't worry about your stupid ass son. You gonna find him tomorrow. We about to hang his ass.
They said that in the text.
They sent that in the text to the mom from the son's phone.
All right, I need a screenshot. Of
not to mention when the boy didn't have no shoes on, but the boy described that they had a machine in there that shredded up his shoes.
All right, so you got sidetracked on the story. So they kidnapped him.
Right.
They took him to wherever because they had him blindfolded or
no, they had him blindfolded. They just grabbed him and took him to an abandoned house.
But he doesn't remember where?
No, he did. They found the house. They know where the house is at and everything.
All right, so they took him to an abandoned house.
He already seen 2 dead boys that was there. You know, they said, hey, we about to hang you. Somehow they went to the next room or something. He ran out of there. He ran out or got out, and a lady seen him running like a mile down the road with no shoes on, sweating, shirt tore, you know, stuff like that, and helped him. And at first he wouldn't talk. But then the mom went on ahead, I guess, after they called the mom, he started telling what was going on. You know, this was happening. This 5 white dudes grabbed me up. It was an older white dude. It was 6 of them. You know, they took me to this house, sat me in a chair, You know, so it's a lot of stuff, even that they are just not reporting. They don't believe that they believe talking about did he run away or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but
Sure, kids do anything. You can't trust them. But I'm being sarcastic because I can't. His face torn up and probably frayed like that. Cause I mean, running away, you ain't gonna come back looking like that.
I mean, one thing I would say that I feel like a kid or that you wouldn't lie about is a machine that shreds your shoes. That's not normal.
Yeah, there's a lot.
That's not something normal that you make up. Because I wouldn't even thought about that. Like, what happened to your shoes? They took them? Shit, I don't know.
Like, that's one hell of a story to make up. And you say, all right, he remember where?
Yeah.
They went back to the house, what?
We even went by the house.
What?
They had it chained up.
They had it chained up.
No forensics. Nobody, came by nothing like that.
Were there any dead bodies in the house?
No. They said they went in the house, but it was no dead bodies. But the people supposedly trying to put stuff in there to make it seem like a stage house now. So it's literally. It was nothing in the house. So that's what cops are like, oh, it was nothing in there. But how you know it's nothing in there? They ain't ran no black light through it. They ain't no forensics. No people came to check out no hair. See no blood. They haven't looked up anything. So they haven't done no preliminary.
What was it?
What you mean, what was it?
Where?
Oh, where was it? Somewhere on the north side, not too far.
Houston?
Northeast side, yeah.
Nah.
Promise you. I went to the lady house. I ain't going to say where she lived, but this is Northeast Houston.
Because on the news, it was saying, south of Pasadena. What's that called? Like League City.
That's East Houston.
I'm sorry.
Same thing. But it wasn't even out there. It was, I'm talking, close to north side, northeast, Acres Home type over that area.
Right.
So, but I mean, this is happening in our backyard and outside of it, all over.
I used to live over
Another
there.
dude was just lynched in Washington.
Washington State?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember there's somebody like a few years ago. It was kind of like the beginning of hearing lynching. Dude went missing in Houston. Between here and Beaumont.
Probably Jasper. They dismembered one dude, dismembered him and everything.
Crazy, like a doctor.
I even heard that's probably not the sheriffs and them covered that up of that state, of that city, of that little small town, which I just found that out.
So the little boy, that's the latest thing. They can't find him. Investigation.
I mean,
is there an investigation?
I mean, it's an investigation, but I feel like they more investigating the kid more than they is the crime.
Because there's no evidence besides him. I mean, Houston.
They haven't went to the house, so they haven't done no real forensics at the house. So how would you know?
But no, especially I know in Houston, just from being arrested, cameras are everywhere.
Yeah.
Houston is.
But this is in the country. This is in the country. This is like in a rural area, so it's not like it's no cameras out there. And the owner of the property was supposedly out of town, but he know the white dude that came and do that. He say the white dude come and buy dirt from him, and he says the dude come and buy dirt from him because he be raping girls and he be using the dirt to cover it up. This is what the owner of the property said.
How does dirt covering up raping girls? What, he be raping and killing the girls and burying them? That's what
How else do dirt help? You ain't using it to comfort them. Like, hey, put this dirt on you.
And they ain't find that guy yet. I
don't know if they looking. They found a truck in Brazoria County an hour away.
But this is okay, so they found a truck.
Yeah,
okay,
but,
that is
but,
right.
but the owner is saying that the truck is his.
The owner of what?
Of that truck that they found. That they supposedly that people kidnapped him in. They found that truck. The owners of the property saying that is his. But they found the truck an hour away in Brazoria County. So why would you be? And they're trying to sell it.
Okay, he said that he knew the person.
Yeah. Who
had it, but they had his truck. So
he knew the white guy. He didn't know if he had the truck or not.
So he stole his truck. He's trying to say
he don't know if he stole the truck. They're trying to sell it now. He know that's his truck. He said that's his truck. So it's a lot of. Man, it's a lot of crazy stuff going on right now. So it's a lot of people trying to get to the bottom of it. But basically, we want to put the word out there. It's a lot of shady stuff going on.
Protect your children.
Yeah, for sure.
Protect your children. Don't let them just walk out. I know you want them to be independent. Not in 2018. You don't.
For sure. On a lighter note, I got one more current event before we go to the book and stuff like that. Am I wrong? I posted something. Everybody was talking about the royal wedding, but I was like, it's Martin Luther King. I mean, it's not Malcolm X's birthday. So I feel like I don't care nothing about no royal wedding. Maybe my wife was mad at me one time because she came and talking about. I was like, I really don't care about no royal wedding. Like I just, I don't feel like that platform is gonna be used to help black people You know, so nothing against her. I don't have a plight against, you know, all the power to you. But I don't think that that is a celebratory win for black people.
I don't know how. I mean, it's a, I mean, 2 generations black. The fact that Eve, you remember Eve? Rough Riders Eve? Well, she married a white guy.
I mean, it's not about her marrying a white guy. I just don't think I don't think that being a royal wedding and her being a princess or whatever is doing any good for the black community.
I think any person marrying outside the black race is not doing anything to the black community, really. Like, you can't be like. Did we cover that conversation before?
I mean, we talked about it, but I think it is some people. I don't want to say that because I think it's some people that's out there that would I marry outside my race? No, but it is some people that I think that are doing good stuff, you know, or saying good stuff.
All right, so if you're saying that, then the royal wedding has the potential to do that.
But she's not. I'm talking about talking about the person's actions. I'm not talking about the person's actions. I'm not talking about the action itself of getting married. So I'm talking about, all right, this black person married a white woman, but he's still doing stuff or talking up for the black community. Good.
Got it.
This person go marry royal wedding. Good. Say, hey, she's black and you're in a royal wedding, but what is that doing for black people? She's not using that platform to do anything. If anything, I seen her wedding photos. They was in black and white. I feel like they did as much as they can to make her look white. You know, if you seen them, I just happened to see one on the internet. I was like, I think they did as best they can to make her look as white as she could.
I mean, it
don't take much with her. So
from the video Gambino released a few weeks ago, This Is America. What I've learned is that there's black folk, and there's white black folk, and there's black folk that no longer want to be black and don't call themselves black.
Right.
So there's all kinds of different black folk. But you just call them colored. Right. But not all of them are for a black cause.
I told my friend like this. He kind of said the same thing. He was like, so marrying a white person or out of your race means you can't do nothing pro-black, or you can't be pro-black. I don't believe that's the case. I believe only if you. I believe it depends on your reasons. I believe if you marry, let's just say, a white person because y'all are in love or whatever the circumstance like that, I will say all the power to you. But if you're marrying somebody white because you somehow despise your race or think we're somehow less than, then that's a problem. So I think it just kind of depends on your reasoning. Now, if you like I say, if you're doing it for love and that person you rock with and they rock with you for a long time, do your thing. But if you marry because you like, oh, I don't like black girls, or somehow you saying it's inferior to your race, or somehow you feel that deep down inside, you feel like you need that whiteness in order to succeed in life, or that white woman by your side in order to climb up the corporate ladder, then it's wrong. So they're just, I don't want to discount everybody's feelings or assume that that's how they feel because I have friends that got white wives. We had that talk, and I'll be like, hey, and I feel like I know them enough to say, hey, they for the black community, rather than saying, hey, somebody that's from the outside in, they got a white wife. Oh, shoot, they ain't for the black community. I don't know them, so it's easy to make that assumption.
See, and that's where I kind of, because it's still contradictory. Because if you can accept a black guy marrying, or any black person marrying outside the race, depends on the actions, then, isn't it pretty much okay for anybody to be for the support of black folk? Like white people themselves, if it depends on their actions.
Yeah.
It should be okay. White people can be pro-black, right?
For sure, but that don't mean you can say whatever you want to say to black or do whatever you want to do in the black community just because you're pro-black. You still got lines that have to be drawn. That ain't mean you going out here saying the N-word because you say you pro-black.
No, but there's plenty of times being pro-black, you kind of pretty much exclude white.
I mean, I had somebody give me
for you. I mean, it really is.
Somehow, but I'm gonna tell you what scenario you use. And I had somebody give me an example. They said, hey, if you got 10,000 cobras coming towards you, but 1,000 of them are good. You're not gonna try to hold the door open for that 1,000. You're gonna close the door on all of them. You know what I'm saying? And I think you're using that whole close the door. But I think when you're dealing with humans, it's a little bit different. And I'm not giving nobody a pass because, like I say, it still depends on your actions. So at the end of the day, you can. I feel like you can marry whoever you want to marry, but at the end of the day, it depends on your actions and your reasonings of that decision. You know, so I won't just discount them just for that action.
To me, it's confusing as hell.
It has to be. This is a confusing time.
Because, you know, it's one of those things. It's just, especially when there are whites that will totally disregard their whole, like, cut a child off for marrying outside the race. Right? Because they're trying to reserve, like, full on, by and large, reserve something. And on our side, to be pro-black and not do that, like, pro-white actively does that.
I don't want to exclude a good brother because of his feelings, which I don't even know, towards his significant other. I don't know what they've been through.
You dismiss it, okay? So what you're saying is the new princess ain't a good sister, or you just don't know? You just haven't been following.
I feel like it depends on her actions.
I think on per just her actions,
right?
And the color of her skin, just look at, all right, she's a good sister. Skin color means, all right, she's a sister,
but
and she's been doing some good actions.
What
you want to get, so now you got a double standard.
What action? No, I would hold him to the same. I would hold him to the same standard. If he's doing that and then he's still not doing stuff or portraying it in his actions, I can be like, hey, then you know what you did is for naught. Like it doesn't mean anything. I mean, at the end of the day, so you can say whatever people can do whatever they want to do, but I'm going to still judge them on their actions. You can marry whoever you want to marry, but if you're doing it for the wrong reasons, it's going to show.
Correct.
So, you know, but
I feel you on that.
Go ahead. I don't know if you have something else.
No.
You got the book this month, huh?
All right, well, I got the book this week, and since we were talking on the entrepreneurial thing,
you're right.
And you were talking about start from the bottom and everything. Well, a good book for all of that is The Lean Startup. You read it?
No.
Never read The Lean Startup?
Never read it.
All right. Granted, a white guy did write it. There are some intelligent white people out there, many of them.
Seem like a hypocrite right now.
It's shit like that actually pissed me off because, like, it's only a white person out there that got the information. I have to go through that. So 99% of my education has to go there. Therefore, you realize an actual supremacy at that point.
Come on, read it and produce your own books. Come on, so we can have it on our side.
It's coming. I got something a whole lot better than the damn book. Right? The Lean Startup pretty much takes you through this guy's example of how he got his company started and the lessons learned. This is where education. Reading a book is a form of education. You don't have to go to college to read the book. No. But going to the library, you see where you get the book. See what I'm saying? Like, you have to go to the library. The internet is the new library. That was the only difference of knowledge is key. So this book teaches you an example of how this guy started his tech company. He built the application. I can't remember the name of it. Right. But he builds it from the ground up. Initial money he puts in, and he fails. He fucks up, and he can't figure out how. A few years later, he tries again with something else, and it succeeds. Well, what's the difference, right? So he gives in the differences of how to really go through your startup without choking it off yourself or have other outside things choke it off. Like a lot of people like to think you need everything together
perfect before you
can go in and get it started. And he's saying, no, just get that shit started, i.e., if you got a frame of a vehicle, start driving the vehicle and build that shit as you drive. If you could put that in perspective. Because, you're an entrepreneur, you're worried about the perfect logo. No, just choose a logo, and keep moving. Right? Don't get caught up on
semantics.
Semantics. Like, you got to have, like, it should be, essentially what it's getting to, there's a very certain level of good enough so you can move forward, and not only move forward, not really so you can succeed, but move forward so that you can fail and get that information you need to know so that you can move forward.
Gotcha.
And this thing, like, it applies to my situation. Trying to, especially in my company. And I haven't even talked about my company ever in this podcast yet, right?
Hey, talk about it like I talk about CG. Mention I can.
when you're developing a product, you're coming up with options. Yeah, you should have options, but not too many options.
Right.
The Lean Startup means should go, hey, just start with one option, start selling that option, then as you go, add more options to it. Having a whole bunch of options in the beginning really not really dilutes it, is simply just going to slow you down. Because, for example, he had a whole bunch of options. What happens is, it's a whole lot of work that you have to do up front. Not having to do that gets you to market faster. And that's the key of the whole thing, is getting to market faster helps you get an edge over your competition, what have you. Getting to market, what have you. So, you have less work, but even more so when it comes to selling, right? People, there's things that will sell and will not sell. And if you have a whole bunch of options, you got a whole bunch of things that won't sell. And as well, it's going to give you inaccurate information of a person, you know what? Yeah, I'll take that. And you take this subscription, then you leave it. Well, now you've kind of killed your brand with a non-wanted product when you could have just offered that one main product to kind of keep everybody. Mm-hmm. So there is a systematic way of launching your products and services, what to offer, when to offer it, and how fast you can truly move through. Even more so, how to keep them move. Negativity. Don't let somebody's bad feedback early in the game stop you from moving forward.
For sure.
Take it as criticism.
Always gonna have naysayers.
And keep it moving. Like that is good, but you got to get more. There's a whole lot more gems in the book. It's called the Lean Startup. I think it's Lean Startup 2.0.
Again, we're gonna put it on the website. Y'all go check it out, blackKingsPodcast.com.
It's just a Lean Startup by Eric Rise. If you starting from the bottom, this is a must read to help you out in getting started and successful even faster, while eliminating a slew of bullshit that you don't really have to deal with.
For sure. All right. Hey, everybody go check out the read. I'm going to have to go read it and, get educated on it for sure. And, hey, my black product of the month, I'm going to just choose a business. I brought in GoCroozen.
I already figured something.
Hey, y'all go download the GoCroozen app. That's CROOZEN. I spelled that right. GoCroozen. Y'all go check them out. They was definitely here. If you didn't check out the first video, go check them out. They told a little bit more about their business.
I call them the Cruising Crew. The Cruising Crew. Shout out to the Cruising Crew that's here.
I think it can be big. I wish all the best to them. Hope it'll be good. Everybody, thanks for tuning in to the Black Kings Podcast. Again, I'm Lloyd Ford.
Sharon Cutter Smooth EP Digital. Once again.
We are out.